Hello, this is Sabina at Crosskeys Crafts with a very quick bonus video. Rather than putting this tip into another video where it gets a little bit lost, I thought I'd just make a little separate video. And I want to tell you something about cutting plates and how to preserve them a little bit more than normally. This is not my idea. I'm sure I got this idea from Jennifer Maguire. And what she does and what I have been doing for years now is I dedicate my top cutting plate to just using at the top. So I'm putting a sticker on there. And then the other one, my bottom plate, I keep that as a bottom plate. I never swap them round. What happens though when my bottom plate looks like this, is warped and it's, cut into it quite a lot now. Sometimes I have to use a brush to get rid of this. I'm disposing of this one here, and then I take the bottom plate and start using that as a I take my top plate and start using that as my bottom plate. So normally it has got a few blemishes. Maybe I can show you with a new one. Oh, sorry about the glare from my camera. You might be able to see there's a few dies because I've only used that for about 2 days now. So you get cuts, talking of which, if I say top plate, I'm using my dies facing down, so they cut downwards and they only then cut into this plate and not into this plate. So that when I buy a pack of 2, I always just use one as a new top plate and use the old one as the bottom plate. How often you change them depends on how much die cutting you do. As I said, they do get quite battered. I usually forget to turn them round, but you can do that to counteract the warping a little bit, but usually I'm not too bothered about that. The other thing I suggest, and I always, well, almost always do if my brain's functioning, is when I've got a small piece of cardstock, let's say like I've got a scrap here, but I want to cut, I just need a few circles, and I just basically, you might even be a smaller piece of cardstock, and I just want to cut it like this. I never cut straight into the cutting board, into the board here. I always put some scrap paper underneath here. I never have dies exposed, and I think this helps as well with not having too much damage on the boards. Yeah, I thought I'd just share this quick tip. So I've got this one here now, and then that means you might be wondering, why do I bother about this? Obviously, first of all, you have to change your cutting plates quite a bit, but at least the piece that's on top doesn't have any blemishes, or hardly any blemishes when you die cut. The bottom usually will have some blemishes. I had that recently in a video. I had to recut something because the imprints here showed on the card. You can put, if you want to, like, let's say this, for example, if I cut through here, because these pieces are exposed, if I've got blemishes on the top plate, they would then show on the exposed pieces. So you can use a protective piece on top. That sometimes helps. If I say protective piece, like a piece of paper, that sometimes helps, but sometimes the blemishes even go through that paper and still show up on the card. So then it's time to change your cutting plates. But yeah, I thought I'd just pop in. I hope this made sense to you, and I'll see you again soon with another video.